The Jews brought to the prophet a man and a woman from amongst them, who had committed adultery. The prophet ordered both of them to be stoned to death near the place of offering the funeral prayers beside the mosque. The prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha while she was 6 years old, and consummated his marriage with her while she was 9 years old, and she remained with him for 9 years, till his death.
In no way is Islamic Sharia, Islamic government, compatible with Western understandings of human rights and freedom of conscience. Traditional Islam forbids conversion from Islam, forbids anyone to leave Islam. There's no way out. And it forbids Muslims and non-Muslims to live as equals in society. It mandates the second-class status of non-Muslims, forbidding them to hold authority over Muslims, forbidding them to hold certain jobs as a result. It even mandated in history that houses of worship of Jews and Christians were neither to be built or repaired, making the communities relegated to a perpetual state of decline.
O you who believe, take not the Jews and the Christians as awliya, friends, protectors, helpers. They are but awliya to one another. And if any amongst you takes them as awliya, then surely he is one of them.
It is not possible for a non-Muslim living in a Muslim society to invoke his civil rights and human rights that would be independent or separate from the Sharia concept. He is expected to submit to Sharia willingly, and if he accepts his dhimmitude, the position of a dhimmi, he will be a protected person. A protected person is someone who is, in fact, a willing subordinate to the Muslim overlords.
We saluted the Prophet as he stood praying, and he came out to us, and we told him that we had killed God's enemy. He spat upon our comrades' wounds, and both he and we returned to our families. Our attack upon God's enemy cast terror among the Jews, and there was no Jew in Medina who did not fear for his life.
The hadith very clearly says, the hadith which is what Muhammad said, I have been ordered to fight until everyone says that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So this is how Islam spread to North Africa. This is how Islam spread all the way to Indonesia. This is how Islam spread in the Middle East. Syria was not a Muslim country. Lebanon was not Muslim. Saudi Arabia even was a mixed multitude. All throughout the Middle East, that's how Islam spread, was by the sword. This is why you don't see any synagogues in Saudi Arabia. You don't see any churches in Saudi Arabia. Christianity virtually is non-existent. Even in my village in Bethlehem, Muslims are taken over. There's only 20% left of the Christian population. In Lebanon, Christian Lebanese are moving by the droves. Hezbollah there is very active. Lebanon used to be a Christian nation. Now, all of a sudden, it's being Islamized. So, Islam is moving.
There is no God but Allah. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. Muhammad is his messenger. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Jihad fi sabilillah. Jihad fi sabilillah. Follow the Holy Quran. Follow the Holy Quran. Follow the Holy Quran. Follow the Holy Quran. There is no God but Allah. There is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. Muhammad is his messenger. Unite Muslims everywhere. Unite Muslims everywhere. Unite Muslims everywhere.
Islam is the latest. All right, here we go. Allah Akbar.
Muslims who come to the United States and come to Western Europe with an idea that Sharia is the law of Allah, they look upon our freedom of religion and they look upon the fact that non-Muslims are in power in the United States and in Western Europe, making laws, and making laws not on the basis of the law of Allah, but on the basis of consensus and free elections. They look upon all that as a manifestation of jahiliyyah, or unbelief, the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, as the times in any nation's history before it became Muslim is referred to. So that you have Pakistan and Iran and so on, they refer to the period of their history before they became Muslim as the period of jahiliyyah. They also will consider the United States and Western Europe to be in periods of jahiliyyah today. And many Muslims coming into the United States and Western Europe will work to establish Islamic states here on the basis of the idea that the secular state and the state based on elections has no legitimacy. And you don't have elections about the law of Allah. You simply obey what God says.
صل على سيدنا محمد. جهاد 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 جهاد.
It's about time for the whole West to realize Islam is the truth. As a matter of time, Islam going to be implemented. And the giant of Islam and the giant of the Islamic State is going to rise up again. And it's going to be a fact. And it's going to be a true fact in reality. Look, the Muslims in Egypt, they go for Islamic State. Look in Bilad al-Haramain, jihad for the sake to establish the Quran. Look in Iraq, look in Afghanistan, in Uzbekistan, in Pakistan, even in Europe, people calling La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time the Sharia will be implemented and the Muslim Ummah will be united.
The most important thing that the West needs to know about Islam today is that it has a political character, and that it is not simply a religion, but it is a religion or a belief system that mandates warfare against unbelievers for the purpose of establishing a societal model that is absolutely incompatible with Western society. Americans need to know this. Western Europeans need to know this because Muslims are coming into Western countries while holding these beliefs and intending to act upon them. They are the motivations behind modern terrorist activity, and they are the goals of millions of Muslims in the United States and around the world. We need to know this so that we can protect ourselves. But unfortunately, because of political correctness and because of media and general government unwillingness to face the sources of Islamic terrorism, these things remain largely unknown.
Islamic fundamentalism is a sleeper cell in America. A good point, a good case in point, is the story of Saladin. Saladin is a great hero in Islam. Saladin was the one who defeated the Crusades. There was a treaty that's supposed to be happening between the Crusades and Saladin. And the story goes as follows. The Arab mediator came to Saladin and said, the Quran says that if they concede to peace, then concede to it. Which means that if the enemy wants peace, let's have peace. Which is a verse you can find directly in the Quran. And Saladin responded with a great answer when he stated to the guy, you are an Arab and I'm a Kurd. You should know the Quran better than I. Don't forget, the Quran also says, why should we concede for peace when we have the upper hand? So you find both verses in the Quran. Peace, you concede to peace when you are the weaker party. This is why you hear the term hudna. Hudna is a peace treaty, ceasefire. In Iraq, Sadr asked for hudna because he knew he can't defeat Americans. You have hudnas all over when the enemy is stronger than you are. But as soon as you gain strength, then you don't concede for peace. This is why the face of Islamic fundamentalism in the West has a facade that Islam is a peaceful religion, because they are waiting to have more Islamic immigrants, they're waiting to increase in number, waiting to increase in political power, and once they do, then look out. You'll see the real face of Islamic fundamentalism here in America.
سيارة مفخخة بقافلة أمريكية، ويظهر الشريط أحد الأشخاص وهو يقوم بتفخيخ حافلة صغيرة بعدد من القذائف الصاروخية.
قمنا بتفخيخ هذه السيارة لاعتراض رتل أمريكي، ونقسم بالله العظيم إن غايتنا هم جنود الكفر والاحتلال، ولا نريد من وراء ذلك أن نؤذي مدنيا، لأن دم المسلم أغلى ما يكون عندنا.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر.
It's unfortunate, but there is no negotiating with the jihadists. There is no striking a deal with them. Islamic law is very clear on that, and here once again is an example. We need to take Islam seriously. Islamic law does not allow for treaties. It does not allow for negotiated settlements between Muslim states and non-Muslim states. All it allows for is a temporary period of up to 10 years of hudna, or what is commonly translated as truce, to allow the Islamic forces to gather their strength. But that's not the same as peace as we know it. That's not the same as the absence of a state of war. That's only a temporary lull in a war that the jihadists consider has gone on for 14 centuries and are willing to fight for 14 more.
So when you meet, in fight, jihad in Allah's cause, those who disbelieve, smite at their necks, till when you have killed and wounded many of them, then bind a bond firmly on them, take them as captives. Thus you are ordered by Allah to continue in carrying out jihad against the disbelievers till they embrace Islam, are saved from the punishment in the hellfire, or at least come under your protection. But if it had been Allah's will, He Himself could certainly have punished them without you. But He lets you fight in order to test you, some with others. But those who are killed in the way of Allah, He will never let their deeds be lost.
In Islamic thinking, the world is divided into the house of Islam, where Islamic polity has been established, where Allah rules supreme, and the house of war, which is the rest of the world. This dichotomy is reminiscent of other totalitarian ideologies, and most explicitly communism. Both communism and Islam seek the end of history in this world. The end of history will come when either the whole of our planet becomes Dar ul-Islam, or else when the proletarian revolution brings the avant-garde of the working class to power all over the world, which will be the end of state, the end of money, and the end of class oppression. In both cases, it is possible to have a period of truce. It is possible to have what would be called in modern parlance peaceful coexistence. But that peaceful coexistence